Right, well, I guess we should get the ball rolling. Kevin Francis, Big Kev, the guy that we set out, when we set out this Legend series for Stockport County Live, we said the target here is to get Kevin Francis all the way from Canada on the show. So I am delighted, beyond delighted, to say, Kev, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, mate. Thanks for having me. I didn't know there was such a request out there, to be honest with you.
Before we go down the route of football and memories and Stockport County and everything else, we've had a few of your former teammates on and other former county players who you didn't play with, and we've started all of them the same way. Doesn't really feel right talking about football straight away. Lockdown, quarantine, everything that's going on with coronavirus. How's it been where you are over in Canada?
It kind of works. It's been working the same way. Like the worldwide, everyone's been kind of slow to react because no one actually knows what's really going on. And then I think everyone's looking for another country to come up with some miracle remedy and how to properly affect lockdown, and it's not really worked but much. But we're in the same scenario. I think they've just released a bit in the press over here now where we're moving on to phase 1 or phase 2 of letting people come out and circulate and stuff. So all that my kids are bothered about, these are the kids that are coaches, just getting back on the grass, but that's not going to be until probably the end of this month or whatever. But as regards lockdown and stuff, I mean, all it means is that, the job that I do, I can do it. I'm in a team of 7, but everyone's got their own vehicle, so right. I don't have to interact with anybody with what I do for my job apart from my team. Right. No one else uses my vehicle, so it's just sanitised by me. So the only concerns I have really is just me and Sharon. Sharon's still working as well. But apart from that, it just means come weekend or come days off, there's nothing to do and nowhere to go because obviously everything kind of shut and closed down.
And just in case anybody isn't aware, although I'm willing to bet that every single county fan watching this is aware, but just to bring everyone to the same page, what is it that you do now? What is it that you've got living your life over there in Canada?
I was going to say something typically smart ass like I do, but I won't. I actually work for Calgary Police Service, mate.
And how is that? Is that a different world from football?
It totally is. I think once I kind of finished playing, I didn't think that coaching would be enough as regards the camaraderie that you have and the fellow bond with 11 to 24 other people. But it was actually my best mate that I've known since I was 7 years old that's got me into it. And, I've found going through, it's kind of been something that maybe I could have done a little bit sooner after retiring. And for the field to move into, because there's so many other different avenues within the force that you can move into, which is what I've evolved into now. But the only other thing that's given me so much pleasure is regards to get up in the morning and it's not been a problem if they phone and call us out like I did this morning at 4 o'clock. It's no problem, I'm there, sort of thing. So it's given me that sort of camaraderie and that sort of teamwork that I had with football. But yeah, I love it. I mean, would I do it in England? Yeah, hell no. But I actually enjoy what I do. Like I say, current climate aside, it's a difficult enough job as it is. And it's like any walk of life, wherever you work, there's always someone that you wonder, had that idiot get dressed in the morning on his own? It's yeah. And we've got him. We've got him. Everyone's got him in whatever walk of life. But just unfortunately, they've come to the forefront right now, and I would say it's a storm that we've got to weather and ride through, but it's an ongoing storm that's been systemic for years. But as regards me and my job, what I do, I still love it.
And what you talk about the camaraderie and everything that comes with that, and the similarities, I guess, of that and being in football. But how did you find the transition from moving from sports life and football life, where you've had a really successful career and one that we'll obviously go into over the course of the evening? But how did you find that transition once you first found yourself in a police uniform? I mean, this is a million miles away from tying up your boots and running out onto a field.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, probably the one similarity is like you turn up, you get changed, you put your uniform on, like, and you know what I mean. You sort your team out, you sort your tactics out for the day, and you get out there and get it done. I think I wasn't a big fan of secondary education when I was younger, and there was no thought in my head of going to school. All my thoughts were playing football. That was it. Yeah, I was a late bloomer and so on, but when you're doing something that you enjoy, sinking your teeth in and training isn't a problem. So like going and training and running, and that wasn't a problem. Once I got into classes for like CPS, it was off, and I found how much I was actually enjoying it. The transition wasn't that bad. I mean, I'd had quite a bit of a gap. I mean, I didn't start classes till I was 40. So, like, you know, wow. I mean, I wasn't the oldest. And funny enough, I wasn't the oldest one in the class. There was like 3 others older than me in the class. But it wasn't the bad situation of being back at school. More so like what maybe secondary education would have been like if I chose to do that.
Well, let's maybe start with that. The other transition, then the transition out of that secondary education and into football. Cast your mind back all those years, if you would, and just kind of relive that time for us when you started picking up your first professional contracts, the first time you started running out in front of fans and having teammates and beginning to realise that the dream of being a footballer may actually be happening.
It was very surreal. I mean, like I said, I mean, I've told the story that many times. People probably know it inside out, but it all snowballed in the space of 7 days, literally, from putting down a hod and carrying bricks to like lacing up your boots, like, you know, 6-7 days a week, as opposed to 2 nights, Tuesday, Thursday for training and a Saturday for a game. It always was the ambition, not the ambition, it was always the dream. The self-belief was there, but I didn't think that, you know, I had what other people wanted as regards how to play the game. I've been on the trials, you know, I turned up religiously when asked, and you know, you get to a point even at like 15, 16, you start hearing the same thing over and over again. You know, it's not going to work. It's not going to happen. So that was a matter of just throwing myself into life, getting a decent job, and making sure that me and Sharon were all right. And then it was funny actually when the phone rang. I've with two of the best jobs that I've had in regards to football and what I'm doing now. They were both started off by a phone call that I thought was bullshit, and I hung up on them, like both, because like I've got the camaraderie and like also goes along with having stupid friends that do stupid shit sort of thing. So like, yeah, so you know what I mean. It's like you keep telling yourself, "No, I'm not going to fall for it again," sort of thing. But luckily, the first job that got me here in Calgary, like they actually rung back the second time and told me not to hang up this time and to hear them out. And funnily, like, it's a good job my mum took the second message as regards going to play for Derby, because I'd already hung up on them once as well. Wow. Because you just got to that point where it's not going to happen. You know what I mean? And then like you kind of found your level. I was more than happy with playing Beezer Holmes Prem at Redditch and Milo and so on. And you know, from there it was just a situation. You know, it's gone now. You know what I mean? That window's been closed at 17, 18, and then you know you're not going to see that sort of story now that like happened to myself, the likes of Ian Wright and so on, and where they're getting late. But it's like what I tell the kids that I coach out here now: like, you never know who's watching. You know what I mean? Don't if you're going to go out and half-ass the job, then don't bother doing it. You know what I mean? Because you might as well give your best because you don't know who's watching, and that's the way it worked for me.
Yeah, 100%.
Playing, because the original call was to go on trial for Leicester. So I played for them on the Monday night against, I think it was Shepshed Charterhouse. I don't even know if they still exist. And then I got a call on the Tuesday to be at the baseball ground on the Wednesday, and like, you know, one trial, like, yeah, okay. 2 in 2 days? No, I don't think so. So that was the point where when they actually rung back, it was my mum that took the message. I was at work, and then I said, okay, I rung them back up, and then the woman I spoke to says, oh, no, there's no game on Wednesday. All right, okay. So I'm running through my head all the 6 or 7 people that I could like pick out and like punch in the face first. And then she said, "Oh, she asked for my name. I gave her my name, and then she went away. And then when she came back, so yeah, there is a game which behind closed doors. So I'll be here at like 6:30, I think it was. So it's another half day off work, driving across the Derby to go and play there against Shepshed Charterhouse again.
Yeah. You must have put in a hell of a game.
The second game, the Derby game, felt better than the Leicester one. It just felt like less pressure because it was like, you got a chance to play. I like to play in anyway, and just go and enjoy yourself. And I think we've done a full 90, and then they played another like 25 each way after that, because there was 2 other kids they were looking at that were over from Russia, I think they were. And I think it was like the first half of the first 25. I just ran out of gas and I thought, I'm not chasing, I'm just going to hit this. And it just rifled in the top corner, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm done. And then luckily it brought me off. But yeah, it's sitting there. Back at the old baseball ground, it's like a row of marble baths. It was like a Roman spa, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It wasn't no big square bath like it was at Edgeley Park, where everyone gets in with all manner of whatever. So sitting in there with your neck up to bubbles, it was like, yeah, the big man could do a bit of this.
Yeah.
And then spoke to him after the game. The guy who was my manager at the time, I think when I was at Milo, he kind of told a white lie and said that Leicester had offered me like $350 a week. And then they said, okay. And then they walked away and says, oh, we'll be in touch. And I just screamed at him when we walked out of the office. I said, like, you spoiled it now, sort of thing. But no, they phoned me on Thursday, said, okay, so we'll match that. So come back up on Friday and sign.
And that was,
so it was
and
like
that was that.
5 days. And that was that, yeah.
You're a professional footballer. Well, fast forward a short while, and Danny Bergara spots you playing, and just tell us how that unfolded.
Well, I didn't know there was interest. I don't know who was watching it. But like reserve games back then were proper reserve games. Like, they were well attended, and there was always somebody in the crowd watching. But unless you're fringe first team and like you're either looking to go away or looking to impress, then like people are making note of that. And to me, I was just embedding myself in the squad and then starting to get a regular spot on the bench and so on. So it to me, it just came out of the blue. I didn't even know anyone was interested. And I think I was probably 6 months into my second year at Derby, and then got a call off the training ground, go back to the ground, gaffer wants to see you. And then it's like at any point, even now, like if your sergeant wants to see you, you're thinking, what have I done?
Yeah.
So he was like all the way back to the baseball ground thinking, what have I done? And then like went in, seen him, he says, right, he says, Stockport County want to speak to you. He said, I suggest you speak to them for the experience. He says, here's their manager's number. He said, give him a call. He says, and go and have a chat. He says, just listen to what they've got to say. And then I think he says, and I'll see you tomorrow. No, what did he say? He said, I'll see you in 2 days, sort of thing. So they give me the next day off. And I'm like, all right. So does that mean that they don't want me? Does that mean that Derby don't think I'm good enough? And then so drove up to Edgeley Park. Well, no, we went home first and then like looked it all up on CFAX, good old CFAX.
302, I think, were the football pages. Another day.
It was 302 was the football pages, but Stockport were on 303 or 304 or 305. It's like, I didn't know CFAX went that low, mate.
Listen, we'll take 384. If we get 384, we'll take it.
Yeah, it probably was as well. Yeah, so yeah, it was just like going back to Shaz and then having a look and see where they are. I'm like, well, he like heavily suggested I go and speak, so let's go and speak. So, and like Danny was he was infectious from the minute he walked in. Like, expecting to be there an hour tops maybe. I think I was there like 4.5 hours in his office.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
And then like just talking and just talking about football and watching videos and like videos Uruguay, videos of like just just everything, just chatting football, talking videos. I don't even think we talked that much. Probably talked about 30 minutes as regards going and signing and what he wants and what plans he had for me to come up there and everything.
And did you kind of know then? Yeah, I'm going here.
Yeah, he was a salesman. His sales pitch like just completely sucked me in. Apart from roofing me, I would have done anything that he wanted anyway. So like, it was in that respect. Yeah, he just won me over. So it wasn't my intention.
We've obviously spoken to a few different players now who played with Danny. I often kind of refer to Danny as, certainly in the modern day, the modern era of Stockport County, Danny Bergara is almost like this godfather figure. You know, so many people have stories of him and working with him, and then his legacy continued. Obviously, Dave Jones, and now even Jim Gannon is. You know, it's all come from this Danny Bergara kind of school, if you like. And one question that I can't help but ask myself, anyone who's worked with him, because they all have a bit of a tale to tell, and you just kind of started it there by touching on it, of your first impressions of Danny. I mean, you spoke about the first time you see him, he brings you in for a 4.5 hour conversation, just about a little bit of everything. I mean, what's going through your head at this point? Because like you say a few minutes previous, you know, this is all kind of new to you. You know, you're still kind of cutting your teeth, if you like, in the game. And what does this mean about Derby? Is this what footballers do? Am I in the reserves? Am I getting in the first team? Whatever. And then all of a sudden you've got Danny Bergara, who, like you say, salesman pitch, sits and talks to you for 4.5 hours. Just what emotions do you feel when you're encountering this incredible first impression?
I think one of the biggest things was probably being wanted, and him expressing that he wanted you, wanted me, and I think that was the same across the board to everyone that he brought in and everyone that he signed. He had a vision and a dream of how you were going to fit into his jigsaw and how we were going to play, and you know what I mean, it made you feel like you were important. That's not to say I didn't feel important in Derby, but like it's you kind of you do get the feeling. Obviously, it's a smaller shop window, but you're going to be in it. You know what I mean? The only thing that's going to stop you from playing is you. Yeah, and that's what I tell the kids that I coach now. But at that higher level, it's, you know what I mean. If you're one of the top 50 or 20 players in the world, like you could have a bad day and still get sold for like 50, 60 million.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? At Derby, I'm having a bad day in the reserves, and I'm not playing the reserves. That means I ain't playing at all. So like getting onto the bench and like making way through and making good strides, it was good. But I didn't get that feedback that I was doing that good until someone else knocked on the door and says, "Can we speak to him?"
Yeah, right. Yeah, got you.
So it was like when I went back. It was when I went back the next day, and then Arthur Cox called me to see me again. Like, and so I thought he would have come and see me straight away. I said, "No, I just went home to think about it." And he's like, "Think about what?" I said, "I think I'm going to go." And he actually said to me, he said, "Why?" I said, "Because it just feels right." I said, everything he said, the way he approached it, the way he spoke to me, the way he wants to play me, he said it felt right. And his words were, he said, "You're doing good here." He said, "You don't need to." He said, "I don't want you to go." I said, "I think you're doing well here." He said, "You're progressing well." He says, "But it could be a chance for you to make a name for yourself." And I've said it before, like once, you know, well, not one, 3 steps backwards, like to make a giant step forward sort of thing, which is what it was. But that's on me. And I think a large part of that was Danny, for sure. Definitely.
The players that we've spoken to, a lot of those players who were around that time, you know, you Mike Flynn's and your Sean Connolly's, they very much kind of gave us this feel of the management team. And yes, Danny was great at what he did, but he had this really good relationship with the likes of Dave Jones and the likes of, and particularly John Sainty has received a lot of praise. And I'd be keen to just hear how your experience of those guys. I mean, obviously we want to talk about your relationships with the players in a moment, but just first of all, that kind of management structure and how it improved your game, how you worked with them, how each one was different, but at the same time they were on the same page, and just everything that encompassed that you signed up for.
As a management team and structure, it was good because Danny had his ideas, but obviously like a little bit of the English language barrier like stopped his ideas coming out very fluently. But You know what I mean? With the times that he spent with Sainty and Jonesy, like he could get them out to them. And then once we got onto the training pitch, then it was put into play by Jonesy and by Sainty. I mean, they had just as much a massive part to play, because Sainty was there as well for the 4.5 hours. For me being there and enjoying what I'd done in Stockport, and everyone else, I would imagine, that came across, because they literally translated everything that was in Danny's head.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. They put it into layman's terms. They put it into positional plays. They put it into like training structures, and it made it easier. And all three of them were good to get along with. They're easy to get along with. Yeah, you can. You can piss your boss off every now and again, which they would do, and then if you're not doing your job, and you know for a fact because they were angry for a reason, it wasn't just any vindictiveness. It was just a matter of there's games we could have won, games that we shouldn't have lost, or whatever. And like Jones and Saints were good at doing that, and it's part of it is the gaffer's angry, he doesn't want to speak, and Jones will come across and put an arm around and say, right, well, maybe we should try it this way, maybe we should do that. You know what I mean? And then getting everyone to listen, to buy in. That's the biggest thing. Once you get 11 to 17 players that have bought in, you're kind of unstoppable.
Yeah, I think that's a really good core message that comes through. So we move on to those players, and I tell you, one of the most enjoyable interviews for me, someone who you could tell was really passionate about the game, and in particular his time at Stockport, was your old partner in crime, Andy Priest. And he was. I mean, he's obviously at Chorley nowadays, and County and Chorley have had a little bit of a competitive rivalry in recent seasons. But I mean, all that gets put aside, and he's talking about this goal and that goal, and obviously the QPR game comes into conversation. But then he just speaks about, and the same with Mike Flynn, about your presence within the camp and how everyone used to bounce off you, but at the same time you were one of the boys, and it just seemed like a magical time. And when County fans like myself, who, a little bit younger at that time, but at the same time starting to get into the game of football, and you speak to people slightly older than us, they talk about it like it was just a special time within football. It's quite romanticised those days, and it's always good to hear the stories from within the camp.
Yeah, I say he brought the right players in that could get on with each other. Like there wasn't, I don't think we call it was any like major times there was any fallings out or anything within the team itself. So yeah, like dressing rooms can get heated like with passion in it because everybody wants to win. First thoughts of Precy when he like Danny called me and said he's signing him. I'm like, what for? That's the first thing I said to him. I'm like, and then you start thinking, all right, it's okay. I'm not doing good enough for you. Like I'm out the door, sort of thing. But it's just all part of his jigsaw, and you can see a way that was going to work and was going to play. I mean, point in case, he says, you know what I mean? If there was anyone out there, I mean, this is when I kind of felt like I was grounded within the team and grounded within having an opinion, sort of thing, was when he said, like, we're looking at signing like Michael Flynn, like when he was at Preston. I said, get him.
Yeah.
And he says, oh, why? I said, not just for the throws. I said, like the way he plays. I said, he's 110%. I said, every game. I said, I don't think I've faced him at any time and not come off with some bump, some bruise, or some cut or whatever. And hopefully same for him. I said, I'd rather have that on our side than face it week in, week out. I said, and that, me and Philly we're still great mates now. But like it's Danny knew that jigsaw and had to put it together. I mean, rooms with Precy when he first got there, and then obviously he stepped on and moved on to better things, bastard. And then better rooms, and then I spent the rest of my time then rooming with Flinny. Now Precy like he's golden. He was really quietly spoken, to be fair, when he first got there. But like we didn't have to talk on the pitch. Everything was just in sync. Like he runs off the ball, me going up to head it, him going up to head it or whatever. Knowing when he's going to shoot, don't bother asking for it. Just like getting in a position to tap it in from a yard and claim it. It was like we just bounced off each other.
Even now, when you watch Premier League games and whatever else, you can see it from 15 different angles, player cams, crowd cams, all the rest of it. And when you look back at those games where there's kind of one or two camera angles and it's a little bit wobbly and the quality maybe isn't what you get these days, you can still tell. You can just tell that you boys were working as one.
Yeah, I like to say, you got all those angles now. You can filter them through your head. But when you think back to goals in games where you're linked up together and whatnot, it's like your peripheral vision. You know where everyone else is going to be. You know where someone's going to be. Even timing a run to get on the end of one of Flinney's throws, like, and when Todd is like charging down the line, or little Willow when he was charging down the line, you knew the ball was coming in. It's like you just got to be there. You know what I mean? And make sure you get a good connection to finish. And it was like people playing to your strengths, like and like watching your runs and whatnot. You knew it was going to be. It kind of felt easy when it works and it flows. I mean, obviously there's times you get in positions you miss chances, but like when it flows and like you're on your game and like everyone's on their game, it just felt so great. I mean, I didn't think at the end of the day, Franny was captain, Ward was captain. That was it. I think probably after, I don't know if they both of them are gone. I think Danny asked me once, and I said, "Nah, don't need it.
Yeah.
I don't need the extra pressure, mate. Like, there's enough for me to go out there and score for me, like every game." I said, I don't need to be a captain. So if you think I'm a leader, then people are going to bounce off and follow anyway. Like, I wasn't. Yeah, I was loud. I was like when we were in the dressing room, but more often than not, just by clowning around. But it was, you know what I mean? It was just fitting in, just being one of the boys. I think the only time I really lost my shit was probably when we got promoted, and then they tried to screw us over with like the bonuses and stuff, and then give it the old, oh well, it had to be lodged with the league on Friday afternoon by 12:30, and the first game was on the Saturday. And they said, "I'll just sign it." And I'm like, "No, I'm not signing it." I just refused to sign it, and then everyone was like, "Well, come on, we need to go home, Kevin." I'm like, "No." I said, "You're signing for the same bonuses. You're signing for the same bonuses you got just to get promoted." I said, "Why would you get the same bonuses in the higher league?" I said, "It doesn't make sense." And then we eventually, they came around to my way of thinking. We sat down, we rewrote everything out, and we just give it back to them, and then they agreed. So I said, "See," I said, "We've probably got even bloody more. Like it's what you're worth. So you judged on what you just done. You know what I mean? If we're not going to achieve that success when we went up, then fine, don't pay us." And that's why I think at that point, if we dropped out of the top 5, we didn't get anything.
Right.
And that's how confident I was within my teammates that we would stay in the top 5.
Just on the topic of on the point of the players around you, the relationships, if they were all in the room with you now, social distancing aside, and that thing wasn't all happening, but you get my point. If they were all in the same room now, and maybe there's a couple of beers on the side, is that a kind of environment that you expected? Would just click straight away back to the old days, and you just have that kind of relationship with the guys? Yeah,
definitely. It's. I mean, you'll have the same thing with your mates as well. Where it could be someone that you're still close with. You were close with for a while, and then you don't see him or speak to him for like a year and a half, 2 years, maybe even more. And as soon as you walk into a room or pick up the phone or whatever, you just take off where you left off. So that nothing changes. Like, people inherently are still the same. I mean, unless you're going to go full circle and become a pastor like Ricky Otto did, then that's different. But like, inherently, everyone's still the same. And if they were all here, I'd be worrying about my drink stock for sure.
Are there any without incriminating anybody? Are there any stories from those days that you look back and you think that's going to stay with me forever?
That I could actually tell you. Yeah.
if you want to give us aliases, and we can try and work out the names, that's fine.
I think that probably the second after the second Wembley visit, and then obviously we were all amped up for that one, and then that just went up like a match made, like a house made out of paper. Me and Reese said we didn't want to travel back on the night. We wanted to stay in London and just because the whole build. We've been away from the missus for a week and whatnot. We want to experience Wembley. We want to experience London. We didn't want to go back. We wanted to stay there. And there's nothing to go back for. It's the end of the season, so we said we want to go back. We don't want to jump back on a coach. We want to stay down in London, sort of thing. And it was a bit of a ding dong really with Jonesy and Sainty and the gaffer, and then eventually they said, "Oh, okay, fine." So it wasn't until we got back up on the Monday and then got the messages coming through that obviously the boys got a little bit excited with losing again, as you do, and drown their sorrows to the tune of probably, I think it was like 4.5 or 5,000 pounds worth of dead fish in the hotel lobby. So the hotel that they were staying at, it had like all these koi carp in like a big pool in the reception, and by the time the boys got there, they were pretty oiled up and they had enough of being nice. Like there was people in with the fish, taking the fish out, giving the fish kisses, and like, so yeah, I think it's about $5,000 worth of fish died.
Ooh.
Sort of thing. So which everyone had to donate a certain percentage of money towards these fish, and that was a hell no from me. But yeah, but that's one where, like, I'm not incriminating anyone, but I wasn't there. Priestley wasn't there, so
yeah. We'll
point
move
finger
on.
wherever you like. Yeah,
we'll move forward.
Yeah, I'll say nothing. Yeah, nothing about Toddy. No.
Yeah, we'll move on. So you look back on those days, and I think it's fair to say all of you guys coming on the show, everyone, the fans that were the outside looking in, we obviously didn't have the presence, if you like, that these days social media offers you. You know, there were no cameras everywhere, players all able to offer their own insights it was all completely different. But when you see how your career moved forward, and it came to leaving County, just talk us through how that decision came about, because obviously, you know, it's a club that you've gone on to be named the greatest player of the century. There's obviously a really strong bond there between player, club, and fans. But the move happened. Just talk us a little bit about that.
Yeah. I think there was grumblings at the start of the season about Wimbledon and certain things, but it was just always all talk. And the biggest thing that Danny said to me was, just keep doing what you're doing. I said, if it's going to happen, it will happen. I said, if not, it'll happen here with us. So there was never a point where I ever went in there and said, like, you know, I want to leave, I want to go. Well, like, you know, I don't think I'm getting looked after. For the most part, I'd done pretty well with what I ever asked for. It was never out of reason. It was always within reason, because, you know, I was happy with what I was doing. I was happy at the club. I was happy with the fans. I was happy with where we were living. And it was never a hardship, like I said, to get up and go to work. But then when Birmingham eventually did come in, like, it's your hometown club. You know what I mean? It's being in the scenario that you're in now, and like, if they turn and say to you, like, would you come and play? Would you come and sign? Of course you would.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you drop everything to go there.
Yeah, of course.
But I'd been through that process at 15, at 4. Well, no, when the first trial, probably at 13. So for about like 3 years solid of turning out and going to trials and like going to camps and whatnot, I've been told no, and then it's like, you know, I mean, you think that sort of dream's gone, and then you go and watch. You start off by sneaking in because you can't afford to pay to go in, and you start climbing in, and then you start going in when they open the gates like 30 minutes before the end, and then you end up starting to work, and then you can afford to buy a ticket, and then you buy a season ticket, and then you buy all the shirts, and then you kind of don't get arrested fighting for them and all that sort of stuff. Moving on. And then
man of the law now,
Kev. Yeah, exactly, yeah. And then it was just a hobby. I mean, it's like there's nothing to it. And then, like, you know what I mean. The next thing is you want to be there. You want to be in the pitch. Even winning games and winning promotion and jumping over the fence and running across the pitch, it just felt great. Playing school finals on that pitch felt great. Yeah. You know what I mean. This is where you want to be, and then to have that, like, kind of, not so much dragged away, it was you were just told no. And then for them to come in and say, like, you know, we want you. You know what I mean? It was like, it's your dream. I mean, it's just where you want to be. So it was a big tear and a big wrench, because I was loving what I was doing and where I was. And I don't think for anyone else I would have gone. I mean, there's one place I did go and speak to Blackpool, but like 20 minutes into the conversation, it was like, yeah, no. Yeah, fair enough, they went on and done what they'd done, but it was, you know what I mean, there wasn't a draw, there wasn't a pull or anything. And I think that only happened with it being Birmingham and being my hometown club and stuff.
And how was that when you got to Birmingham? What was the feel like? How did it differ? How were Birmingham and Stockport different as clubs once you got in there?
It's definitely a bigger club on scale as regards like staff wise and managerial wise, money wise, and thought wise at that time. And then with Barry in charge, big, loud and brash, there was always like some sort of headline like floating around. But I mean, Barry's another good one. He's a good motivator. He had jigsaws, like, and he just made them work. I think sitting down and talking to them was a bit of an eye opener. And because I think Karen Brady was one of the directors at the time who we spoke to, and she's just hard faced. For the minute we walked in, she was hard faced. And she's like, "Oh, well, you're only coming from like a little club, and like, this is a big club, and blah blah blah." I said, "Well, little or big." I said, "You called me, I didn't call you." And then like trying to play hard ball with a club that I love, it was like that was hard. But then getting in and seeing how things were bigger, you know what I mean? As regards, I think, well, the amount of playing staff, like the training ground and stuff like that. I mean, it's stuff that I'd seen before, but obviously I've seen it evolve, like from when I was younger to going back and actually signing and playing. And the thing was for me was to try and have the same experience and do exactly or more or less what I'd done at Stockport there. And the thing is, like, I felt wherever I've been, like, I've always given 100%, and the true fans can appreciate that and see that, and that's what ingrains you to them, because like I've worked for a living, and I knew I was going to work for a living again, so there was nothing that I was going to do that was going to spoil my time like that I had playing football. Point in case, that was one of the, because you have to do polygraph to get onto the job, and that was one of the questions. You just kept banging on about drugs, on and on and on and on about drugs. He says, "Well, you must have had easy access to prescription drugs." I said, "Yeah, we did." I said, like, there was a big tub of ibuprofen, like a big box of Smarties. You just put your hand in, grab whatever you want. I said, but like, if you needed it, I said, if you were ill or injured or like, needed to look after, I said, and that's what it was for. I said, but like, getting prescriptions for nothing. I said, what's the point?
And
then he'd move on to something else, and then come back to it 10 minutes later, and then move on, and then come back to him. And I said to him, "Dude, you're not listening." And the best way I could sum it up was like, I was getting paid to do something that I would gladly do for nothing. I said, "You think I'm going to mess that up?"
Yeah.
And he just stood there looking. Yeah.
That's a powerful line. It's a powerful way of putting it.
Yeah. And he just stood there looking at me, and then he says, "Okay," and then like he signed the paper. He said, "You passed about an hour ago." He said, "But he said, I thought there was something." Oh yeah, of course there was, you muppet.
Jesus. So,
but yeah.
So and to bring the Stockport County story full circle, I mean, I almost don't like bringing up the end of the career and the coming back and the injury, but there was a brief spell where you came back to county. Just talk us through what was the same, what was different for those few games.
Well, that's another thing. Is like seeing how the club had evolved and watching how it evolved. It was always the one result I looked for after Saturday. Once I finished playing my own game, I think we'd actually we played Stockport at Birmingham, and then I think it was Megson was in charge, and we were actually walking down the tunnel, and he says, "How you doing, big man?" I said, "I'm all right." So I've been better. I said, "I'd like to be playing more, but you know what I mean."
Yeah.
There's only one Francis here, and at the moment it's not me.
Yeah.
He said we should bring you back. I said, like, maybe you should. But then, like, I don't know what happened there, and it didn't really pan out, and then I ended up going down to Oxford. But then, when I spoke to Killer and so on, said we'd like to come back. It's like, yeah, definitely. I mean, I say never go back, but like you always go back to somewhere that you like. It's like they say, "Oh, once you've been there, you shouldn't go again." Like, okay. So how many of these fat people would be skinny now if they never went back to McDonald's?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like how much would I have regretted not going back if I'd have stayed, you know what I mean, and tried to get fit at Oxford or whatever it might have been. But like going back, like wasn't a second thought. It's like, gee, hell yeah.
And how had the club changed? How had the town, how had it moved on, or had it not? Was it the same as you remembered it? Because we've spoken to a couple of players who have, like Tony Dinning, for example. left and then came back, and he described it as coming home. You know, he said he felt like he was coming home again. A player who played a few years after, you know, in the generations of the teams after Kevin Francis' time, was a player called Matty Mainwaring, and we had him on a few weeks ago. He left to go to Hull, and then he came back after an injury, and he said it was like coming home again. And I get the impression, you know, I know we're a Stockport County show, so players want to kind of pander if, you know, if the opportunity arises. But I got the impression that they weren't just doing that; they genuinely felt they had this relationship with the club.
I think a part of that stems from like having easy access and being a smaller town and being that accessible to the fans. I mean, like everywhere you go, everything you do, like you're crossing paths with county fans, and I think the fact that we as a club, and the players that were there in my time as well, and the players that are there now, are still giving the club recognition. I mean, Jimmy's doing the same thing. He's got a jigsaw, he's got a plan, and he's bringing in players of a calibre that are going to keep marching the club onwards. And I think the fall from grace aside, like it's always been a place where people have seen Stockport, play, going back to the Jimmy Greaves days when we were playing Friday nights and whatnot, and getting that little bit of exposure. You know what I mean? And then taking the club and the fans to heart, it was easy. That's what it was. Like I said, it was a hard decision to leave, and it was the easy decision to come back. Like more than easy decision to come back. And we had nothing but good times there. Nothing but. I don't think there was any other time apart from like Wembley defeats. Everything else was like roses. So going back, it was like going home.
Quick mention on Jim Gannon. Does it surprise you that he's done so well and achieved so much at county manager?
It does.
It doesn't surprise you. You didn't see that coming, no?
Knowing Jim the way I do, yeah, it does.
Fair enough. We'll move on from that.
To be honest again, no, he's done a good job. I mean, like Jimmy was Jimmy. Like when he only spoke up when he needed to, like when he was in the dressing room. Yeah, he was one of the lads and everything as well. But like you know what I mean, he was like the quiet man. When he was upset, you knew he was upset. When he wasn't, he was happy and joking. He was, you know what I mean, he was a laugh a minute. But like he's obviously he's gone away and studied the game, and like he's another one who's obviously got the club at heart as well. So for him, you know, getting up and going to work isn't going to be a problem. You know what I mean? So I think his only problem, or his biggest problem, would be getting that buy-in that we talked about earlier. Yeah. That would be his biggest problem as a manager, just getting the buy-in, surrounding himself with the right sort of staff to keep preaching his word when he's not there or whatever, or when he's like there taking a session. And then as a coach, that makes your job a little bit easier. Jimmy, like he's suited for the job. Definitely, he's definitely suited for the job.
So just to kind of draw a bit of a line under this now, because I know we've kept you well longer than I originally asked for you. So you're coaching as well, and you're not the only sports person in your family, are you?
No, I'm not. No, yes, I'm still coaching here. I'll coach at the university and local boys team as well. But yeah, Stacey's still doing her bit. She's out now in Perth, playing in netball in Perth, because obviously in Australia it's professional. So she's been there now for the last 3 years. And then it was probably last year she kind of, I think it was Tracy Neville, like quit to concentrate on family, and Stacey got on with her, but not so much of her backroom staff. So like, if you ever speak to her, she'll tell you her story as how she got screwed over, but she sorted that out. And then the girl who took the job on now, like she's good friends with, and he said, "Oh well, now would you come back?" And she says, "Oh, there's too much water going under the bridge." And then they kind of sorted it out. So to the point where she put the red dress back on, and she's back representing England at 32. Wow. So, but yeah, and she's her own person. She's, from what Sharon says, she's a mini me, but better looking. I could handle that. It's okay. But yeah, she's done well. She's had her injuries like I've had my injuries as well. And it's like, you know, every now and again it'd be like, "Dad, how did you handle this?" I said, like, "You're strong of mind." I said, just keep pushing on. I said, it won't last forever. I said, like, if it don't kill you, it's only going to make you stronger. So she's still doing a bit there. Her contract's coming up for renewal now, but obviously with coronavirus, everything's been put on hold. But she was actually going to come back to England, like when it was all starting to kick off. And I told her, "No, stay." I said, "Because you're coming back here to be stuck in quarantine for 2 weeks, God knows where, coming back to no job." So like you're sitting there on a contract. I said, "The minute you leave, still rip it up." And they didn't say anything to her. And then when she didn't go, and the deadline passed, and obviously they shut down flights, one of the directors says, "Yeah, we would have had to void your contract if you left." So like, wow. So I said to see, I said, like, I'm not saying you're there because you're their responsibility, but like you've got a contract. I said they need to figure out a way to honour it. Everyone's just knee-jerk reaction was, okay, let's kick everybody out who doesn't live here, and then we can concentrate on the ones that are here now.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, exactly. I said, you're there now, so stay there. I said, let the dust settle. I said, see where you are. And then point of case, her sister's there as well. She's in Perth as well, so they're both over there.
Right.
So yeah, but yeah, she's doing well. I mean, I couldn't be more proud of her than I am already. And she's blazed her own path, and her 100% commitment and the adoration that she's got from the fans. It's from me telling her, like, just give 100%. So no one can ask you for more. So if you give 100%, it doesn't work out, and people can see you trying, and they can see that you tried. I said, and that was one of the biggest things, like walking out on a pitch on a Saturday, like in front of like 30, 40,000 at Birmingham, like 8, 9, 10,000 for Stockport, 60,000 at Wembley. Like same feeling every time.
Yeah,
it was like just like waking up Christmas morning. That was it. That was my present, going and playing.
Yeah,
and then hearing him sing your name like that. Like, of course, it makes you feel good, mate. Bloody hell.
Yeah.
No one sings it now. Well, they call me names, but they don't sing it.
Yeah, no, I could listen. Just finally, Kev. When you think back to what we were speaking about, probably over half an hour ago now, when you think back to you being that kid who was hanging up the phone and maybe didn't think it was ever going to happen, the realistic side or the realism inside, you thought maybe it's not going to happen, even if the ambition and belief wanted to. When you go from there to someone who has been voted Player of the Century at a big club, okay, not the biggest club, but at a big club like Stockport, and who's had the accolades and the awards and the career that you've had in those shirts on the wall behind you, just sum that up, if you could, just in a couple of lines. Could you ever have imagined that it would give you that?
No, never. You can possibly dream of, or possibly dream of what it could be like or what it might be like, and then once you're doing it, it's something completely different. And like I said, having that feeling and thinking back now, like everyone said, "Oh well, I'd like to go back and do this again." Now, apart from injuries, I wouldn't change anything. You know what I mean? Maybe stayed a bit longer or whatever, but I don't know. But for what it's given me and what it's made me as a person, like, it's been invaluable. And like, a large part of growing up and becoming a better player, becoming a better husband, becoming a better father, and like, you know what I mean, becoming more understanding and like learning to articulate yourself. It came through Stockport. I mean, I think it's how we first met was one of the Instagram posts when I'd done the interview with Dole. I can't remember his bloody name now. And then on Stockport, and I was looking at it and I was listening to myself. I'm like, oh my God, you sound like such a fucking idiot. So I'm like, and then
I think that after every one of mine.
Well, that's it. And then it's like, and then from going there now to the amount of bloody speaking and public speaking I have to do now, that's where it all started. And that's where it all grounded by like looking after yourself and by doing well. And I think without Stockport, there's, like I said, there's no Kevin Francis.
Wow.
There isn't. Do
you have a favourite goal?
That all 105 of them, yeah. Loved them all, mate. All of them. Like, even now you just said it, they're all flashing in, like flipping the one at Hull, like curling it around in the top corner. In the one against like QPR, the goal against Forest, the 100th goal wasn't special, but it's my 100th goal. It's like all of them are just great. I mean, it's like coming down here to work out looking at that. It's like, really?
Wow.
Are you kidding
me? Are they the balls? Tell us the story behind those balls.
So So that one, hold on a sec then. So this one is hat-trick ball against Carlisle. Is that one? That one's ink's coming off. That's the 5 against like Hartlepool. That one, my 100th goal. And I think where Sainty had like scribbled out the 1,000 and like scribbled out the O and just put Francis 100. And I think, what is Wardy signed it? This one's signed by everyone. And then Danny signed it saying, well done, Kev, now go for the next 100. Chrissy Beaumont, still think you can learn something from my finishing. Okay. Okay, Grizzy. Sean Connolly, 100 goals, not bad for a man that can't swim. Yeah, cheers, Sean. Thanks for that. But I can swim now, actually. This one was... I can't remember. Another hat-trick. Gotta be. Yeah, another hat-trick. Lucky bugger from John Sainty. And then that one was Stockport versus Hartlepool. So that one's probably Plymouth. That one's probably the Plymouth one, I think. Yeah, and then there's like, what's that one? Yeah, Tankard for my 100th goal. Goal of the season versus Leeds United, and finger post Travel Club player of the season.
That's the big one.
And I can't argue with the finger post, can you?
That's the big one. Listen,
it is.
Kev, it has been, I can't tell you how fascinating it's been. It has been absolutely monumental speaking to you. I think you can't have not felt the love when you came back for your testimonial a few years back. You can't argue with the greatest player of the century, all those goals, all those recognitions. I don't think there's going to be many people who disagree when I say County's most popular player of all time. It has been such an honour having you on.
It's been a pleasure, mate. Thanks for asking me. So it's been so long, but like, basically, I don't do social media at all, like because of the job. Or I didn't, and it's actually Sharon's fault that she outed me, and everyone just jumped on it. Like, big man's on Instagram. Oh God, Jesus. But basically, I don't share it much because of the job, and it's like, so it's kind of impossible.
Yeah.
And then so it's funny when people turn around and say, "Oh, like so and so's following you." Like, you're not going to see much. Sorry, it's just the way it is. But no, I've lived a dream. People say it, and I can say it and mean I've lived a dream, definitely.
Stockport County part of that dream?
Oh yeah, definitely, mate. It started the dream. Like I said, like it's without going and moving and taking a chance, and them taking a chance on me, there is no me. You know what I mean? The belief and the faith showed in me by Danny and Saint in that, coming to watch me a couple of times and then like bringing me across there, and then obviously there's that grounding period and like winning the fans over. And you know it's going to take time. You know it's going to be hard work. You hear, like, regardless of how many people are there, you hear the grumblings. There's always one voice you hear. There's always one person pointing case up the goal at Hull. One guy, non-stop, 70 minutes, banging on and on and on. So when I curled that one into the corner, I turned and walked back towards their fans in the stand. And I'm pointing up, and whoever was sat next to me was pointing to the empty seats, and it's gone. So I'm like, all right, it doesn't matter you seeing it, but like, it's moments like that. It just makes it easier. Like the first goal against Wrexham, it just like, from there, it just makes you feel better. That's probably one of my favourite goals because it started everything. Started a love affair.
Well,
sure, and it snowballed.
Do you have any plans to come back anytime soon?
We were supposed to come back October because Stacey was supposed to be getting married, but not sure if that's going to happen now. So as soon as she gets the plans back on board for that one, then yeah, we're back.
Well, make sure that when you do come back, you drop us a text or a message on Instagram if you're allowed, and we'll definitely.
That's going to be a big secret, isn't it? Drop us on Instagram.
and we'll definitely arrange filling up that finger post tankard.
Yeah, no, I'll be there definitely, mate. It was a plan to run up there because Finny wouldn't let me come back without coming in and seeing him. So no, I'll be there. As soon as I know, you'll be the second to know.
Top man.